Bitcoin. It's like the digital gold rush, but instead of pickaxes and pans, we've got computers and code. People are going crazy for it, buying and selling like it's going out of style. But here's the kicker. There's only so much Bitcoin to go around. 21 million to be exact. That's it. No more, no less. Think of it like a giant pizza. You can slice it into as many pieces as you want, but you're not getting any more pizza. And just like that delicious, cheesy pizza, Bitcoin is finite. Once those 21 million are mined, that's all she wrote. Game over, man. Game over. Now you might be thinking, what happens when we eat all the pizza? Or in this case, what happens when all the Bitcoin is mined? Don't worry folks, we've got a plan for that. It's all about those tiny little slices, those transaction fees. More on that later. But first, let's talk about why Bitcoin has a cap in the first place. Who decided on 21 million anyway? And what's so special about that number? Buckle up, Buttercup, because we're diving into the wacky world of cryptocurrency. So why 21 million Bitcoin? Why not 42 million, or a billion, or, just keep printing more like the good old US dollar? Well, it all comes down to this fancy little thing called scarcity. See, Bitcoin's mysterious creator Satoshi Nakamoto, who may or may not be a robot overlord from the future, wanted to create a digital currency that was different from traditional money. Traditional money, like your dollars and euros, can be printed by governments whenever they feel like it. This can lead to inflation, where your money becomes worth less and less over time. Bitcoin, on the other hand, is designed to be deflationary. That means it's supposed to become more valuable over time. And how do you make something more valuable? You make it scarce. By limiting the supply of Bitcoin to 21 million, Satoshi ensured that it would always be in demand. Think of it like a rare baseball card or a first edition comic book. The fewer there are, the more people are willing to pay for them. It's basic economics, folks. Now let's talk about mining. No, we're not talking about digging in the dirt with pickaxes and hard hats, although that would be way more fun. Bitcoin mining is all about computers solving complex mathematical problems. Think of it like a giant Sudoku puzzle, but instead of numbers, it's lines of code. Miners use powerful computers to solve these puzzles, and the first one to solve it gets rewarded with, you guessed it, Bitcoin. It's like a digital treasure hunt, and the prize is cold, hard, digital cash. But here's the thing, the puzzles are designed to get harder and harder over time. That means miners need to use more and more computing power to solve them, which uses a lot of energy. It's like a giant energy-sucking competition, and the stakes are high. But why go through all that trouble? Well, because the rewards can be huge. Right now, miners are rewarded with 6.25 Bitcoin for every block they mine. That's a lot of digital dough. Okay, so we've mined all 21 million Bitcoin. The pizza is gone, the game is over, right? Not so fast. Remember those transaction fees we talked about earlier? That's where things get interesting. You see, every time someone sends Bitcoin to someone else, there's a small fee attached to the transaction. This fee goes to the miners as a reward for verifying and adding the transaction to the blockchain. That's just a fancy word for the public ledger where all Bitcoin transactions are recorded. So even when there are no more new Bitcoin to be mined, miners will still be incentivized to keep the network secure and running smoothly by collecting these transaction fees. It's like a built-in tip jar for the hard-working folks who keep the Bitcoin flowing. Now, some people are worried that these transaction fees won't be enough to incentivize miners, and the Bitcoin network will grind to a halt. But others are more optimistic, arguing that as Bitcoin becomes more widely used, the transaction fees will increase, making it still profitable for miners to do their thing. Only time will tell what the future holds for Bitcoin. But one thing's for sure, it's going to be one heck of a ride.